Well, hello there, everybody, and especially Matt Jarvis, editor-in-chief of Dicebreaker.com, who is joining me on this Thursday painting stream. Hi, Matt.
Hello, Johnny, and the
Yes,
internet.
indeed. Hello to the internet, who can see the two of us and also my torso, because I thought I've got two webcams. Why don't I do a little close-up cam as we do a little bit of chill painting today? I'm going to be finishing off this Formoroid Crusher from Age of Sigmar Warcry that I've been working on for a little while. Because if I don't finish it, I shall start tearing my hair out in clumps. I really want to just get this out of the way. And then if I finish that well before time, I've primed a Morngul from Age of Sigmar for a Nighthaunt army, which is just horrible. It's like this weird undead ghoul that you can see there on the base is crushing a horse to death. It's just really getting in there and snapping its neck. So that's fun. How about you, Matt Jarvis?
My models feature no horse crushing of any kind. I will be, I will be painting Legolas from The Lord of the Rings: Journeys in Middle Earth, because my wife and I have painted much of that set, and we only have a few left to paint. Nobody really plays as Legolas, so he's last on the bill.
Yeah, fair enough.
Hey ho.
How do you find those models in general? Like, what made you start collecting them, apart from Lord of the Rings being brilliant?
So these are all the ones from the board game. So we painted, I think, all of the models in Mansions of Madness, which is very similar. And then when we picked up Journeys in Middle Earth, we figured, hey, let's just keep this rolling. It just kind of brings the board game a bit more to life as you're playing.
Fair enough.
So we painted our characters and then painted up some goblins and orcs and trolls and whatnot. And now we just got Mr. Goody Two Shoes elf left.
Yeah. Legolas is... It was impressive, like, how much work New Line Cinema had to do in order to make him more interesting in the film. Like, you really felt like they ran out of ideas of things to do with Legolas. Because obviously in the books, Legolas is just sort of in the background being elf-like and
Haughty.
beautiful and haughty. But, Tolkien, I feel like, gave the elves a quiet dignity, which works in print, but maybe doesn't work brilliantly in 3-hour cinematic adaptations, especially if you're doing an action-y trilogy.
Yeah, that's the thing, is by the time you get to Return of the King and he's surfing down, well, I suppose that's Two Towers, isn't it, where he surfs downstairs. Yeah. But Return of the King, he instead surfs down the trunk of an elephant.
Yeah.
Mumakil. So, yeah, I feel like they were just like, well, let's just have him become this kind of incredible, dexterous hero.
Yeah, it's
just fine,
It's fine. I just don't think it's good.
Well,
I like the bit in the Fellowship though, where they are struggling up the. Is it Caradhras, the mountain pass? And
yes.
And Saruman is making it all snowy and that. And they just have that one shot where he's walking atop the snow while everyone else is having to wade through it. That's just a nice little detail that, bizarrely, for the shot, I think is easy to blink and miss. But
yeah, you know what? That was the first thing that came to my mind just a second ago as we were talking about Legolas. I feel like they should have just had more of that.
Or like some shots where people are sleeping and he's just in the elf lore trance, where he's like, I'm just going to think about elves for a night, and I won't have to sleep, and I'll feel great. Like, okay. I mean, when you examine elves, and I'm not just talking about Tolkien here, when you examine elves generally and culturally, they do tend to be refreshed, not just spiritually, but corporeally, by thinking about how great elves are. It's the same in D&D. An elf just needs a few hours of meditation, and they're not thinking about a blooming lotus flower, Matt Jarvis. They're thinking about great stuff elves have done in the past, if you ask me.
Yeah, I feel like elves at this point are just they're the haughty intellectual race.
Yeah.
But that's kind of their whole bag. They don't really have anything beyond that. But they can be so much more. Like the ability to walk on snow is a really interesting detail. that could be explored further, but instead it's just like, yeah, they're haughty,
Yeah.
you know.
JP Corkery said something interesting. He said they did look okay with Legolas in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but did they really have to shoehorn into the Hobbit trilogy so damn much? It wasn't even his damn story.
Oh,
I haven't actually seen the Hobbit movies because I just, like... I heard one book that isn't especially long being made into 3 films, and I thought, I'm good, actually. And I love the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Like, it hit at exactly the right time when I was growing up. That it launched me into a love of fantasy, but also, just those films in general. But
yeah. I mean, if folks haven't noticed, the 3 pictures behind me are of the 3 Lord of the Rings. Well, I guess they're based on the films, but yeah, Lord of the Rings plays a big part in my life. But yeah, the Hobbit films were intolerable. They're real bad.
It's such a shame. Talking off the chat, I should say hello to some people. Hello, Mattress757. Angel Beat, Jack Wood, Isabel CW1, Frenchie 18692. I'm not going to say that properly. Couch to Chowan. I'm sorry, but I think you were the one who said my tummy was round, so let's call it quits. Titan Uranus, JP Corkery, Revolver Rock, Veronica Matchuk. Again, if I say that one wrong, sorry. Matthew Edwards, Stevie Boy 626, Rue's Garden Guide. I hope that's a channel. Angel B, Shunagund, Grogolin. I'm so sorry. Phil Tyler, Danny McNamara, Whale Puck, Han Solo, Chewbacca, Lee Russ, Xenagil 180, and many, many more. I hope you're all having a relatively relaxed Thursday. I hope we can help chill you out a bit more as we work on these things. Yeah.
Sure. Have you? What's kind of been something you've picked up, maybe again, or just kind of found that yourself gravitating towards in the current climate of being inside?
It's interesting because I'd say I'm playing more music at the minute. So I play guitar. I have done since I was like 14, and I'm learning a couple of new instruments at the minute. So I'm just it's awkward because I'm trying to find times when it won't disturb either my neighbours or my wife. But obviously, with everyone being in very close proximity at all times, that is tricky. But when I do manage it, I'm really enjoying just getting the guitar out, having a bit of a sing-song, that kind of thing. I'm not painting as much as I hoped, really, but
Well, here's the perfect excuse.
Exactly, which is very good. Scryfogilin. Yeah. Sorry, that was more. Yeah. Ronnie says, Animal Crossing, the gravitational pull of Animal Crossing is hard to resist. That's what I'm doing, Matt. I wondered where all the hours were going. They're going into Animal Crossing and diplomacy, as we discuss on this
digging
podcast.
Holes. Yes. If you haven't listened to the Dicebreaker podcast yet, please tune in. It's on this very YouTube channel and also iTunes and Spotify and those places what you find it. The usual places. But yeah, we have already recorded this week's episode, which will be up tomorrow. And I thought it was very good fun. I enjoyed it very much.
So I have a real thing against plugging my work to my friends and asking them to watch anything I've done. To be honest, even if people find stuff of their own volition, they're like, I was watching this thing the other day, it makes me cringe. I'm like, oh, okay, well, fine. But to some of my friends, in fact, the ones I'm playing diplomacy with, I was like, listen, A, we talk about diplomacy in this week's podcast, but B, I think it's pretty good, actually. Do you want to give it a listen? So that was a breakthrough for me. Wanting to get people to listen to my podcast. Our podcast, your podcast, the podcast. Slip of the tongue.
The podcast. It's everyone's podcast. It belongs to all.
There we go. So I'm going to make a bit of a departure on this miniature, because I've been painting it for a while now. I've just re-glazed the straps because they looked a bit faded. And I'm trying to glaze this miniature, which is sort of a technique I'm learning very slowly. But the silver of this armour doesn't work for me, so I'm going to make it bronze. And I think that'll work better with the colour palette. And then eventually, after weeks and weeks of deliberating, on this stream I have to make a decision as to what colour hair this guy's going to get. But
viewers, vote in now for your choice.
How about you, Matt? What sort of things are you finding yourself sort of suddenly returning to?
So I found myself with a lot more free time than I usually
Hmm.
do, just because of the lack of a commute, and actually, guitar is one of the things I also
Oh.
play and have done for a while. So I found myself going back to that. I was learning piano, but I do need to go back to it. It's been a little while. I think I just fell off of it with joining a new job and kind of getting settled
Easily
into
done.
a slightly different rhythm. But yeah, and then my wife and I have been essentially just going through various different like TV shows or video game series or board game, things that either one or neither of us have kind of experienced before. So we're making our way through Twin Peaks, uh, which I have seen before and my wife has not.
What a delight.
So it's been quite the experience. It's been a while since I watched it, but yeah, wow, that show.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I absolutely adore it. Um, yeah, tremendous. We've got a super chat from the one who snacks. Who says, "Elves are like the Superman of fantasy. They can do everything and live like forever, which for me is so boring. Give me a flawed dwarf any old day." I agree.
Yeah, and I'll go one step further and say I don't like Superman at
Me
all.
neither, to be honest.
Just just not my bag. Never been into it.
Superman, eh?
Although I
What can
hear
you do? Everything. What's your weakness? One type of
everything.
rock. Okay.
It's like every dilemma is: do I do one thing really well or the other thing really well? Do I save the person I love or do I save a group of people? But either way, I'm saving
Yeah,
someone.
exactly. Which
Like, oh, good on you, Superman, I
which of these
guess.
things will I be excellent at today?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I think I just saw in Felix Soror is spending their time embroidering rude words onto things, which I think is brilliant.
Oh, I believe this may be the person that tweeted at me or included me in a tweet where they had embroidered some abyssal. Uh, I don't know whether in honor of or just happened
Just
coincidentally
incidentally.
of a recent Dungeon Breaker episode where we were filthy mouthed in abyssal, which is the language that Morbos and Eric speak, and also some Vargals who didn't have a very good day.
Oh, they did not. Not at all. Goodness me. Um, that was a fun one. That it was a good escalation of the Eberron arc that we're doing, which
Yes,
will be
yeah, and
concluding in the next 3 episodes of Dungeon Breaker. So ready yourself
which
for that.
it is quite the finale. It is, yeah, really something. You absolutely pulled it out of the bag. It was incredible.
It was interesting that I don't think this is a spoiler. Um, I thought you were going to get a lot further in the previous 3 episodes. So you were that whole basically our next 3 episode arc. I thought was going to be concluded in the previous 3 sessions, but instead we found ourselves sort of slowing down. I thought actually I will just run with this instead, and I'm pleased with how it came out.
Yeah.
It was good fun. Luke F has done a super chat saying, "What's your take on Doctor Manhattan?" See, Doctor Manhattan, meanwhile, is incredibly flawed. Like, he's not especially driven to be great about anything.
I think that's Watchmen in general, though, right?
Yeah.
Is it's look at these incredible people. Wow, they're really bad people as well.
Yeah.
Or, they have real, they're not just goody goody, kind of do everything right.
Yeah, there's nuance there, I think.
I am yet to see the Watchmen TV show, but I hear very good
Oh,
things, and
really?
I'm very excited
I
for it.
haven't seen it either. I've seen the movie. I had swine flu when that came round in like
Oh wow,
2010. It was
yes.
boring. I didn't really have symptoms. I just had it, and so I got quarantined for a week, and I watched The Sopranos almost 24 hours a day because I was going through it for the first time then. But then in the same day, I read Watchmen from cover to cover and then watched the film. So it was a real assault on the senses, and I felt like I was an expert by the end of the day. But the film was not perfect, but fun.
Yeah, I think it gets sometimes a worse shake than it deserves.
Yeah,
It's kind of a 3 to 4 star, like 3.5 star
yeah,
film, but I think there are some really interesting moments and some really good choices in there. It's probably Zack Snyder's best film.
Yeah, I think so.
300, the original 300 is
I'm
okay.
fond of 300 because it's so stupid.
Yeah, it's just like, let's turn this up to 11 and then break the knob off and just keep turning it.
I went to see it in the IMAX in Waterloo in London with my now wife when it came out, and we watched it together and we left, and people were just leaving the cinema going Sparta because it's just bonkers. It's such a weird brainwash like of a film. Let's see. Hopefully the camera's going to pick this up. I've just very gently glazed on some bronze metallic onto this armour, and I might keep going, but for the time being I'm actually quite pleased with, no, that's not going to work, how it's being picked up. And yeah, I'm much more comfortable with that colour palette, which is pleasant. God, that really has, much like the dude's rug, it has really tied the room together.
With Legolas, I've decided to. So the problem with, so I try and stick to. This is a question for you,
Yep.
Johnny. So there are character cards in Journeys in Middle
Yeah.
Earth, which I tried to stick roughly to in terms of copying the color palette, because I think it would look strange if someone picked up a model playing for the first time and went, why are they purple and orange when their color card is green and red? But so I've given Legolas or I'm starting to give Legolas a very kind of Dracula vampire red
Hell
cloak,
yes.
which I kind of love. It's more of a burnt orange in the
Yeah.
image, but I'm kind of into the Dracula like blood red
Absolutely.
look.
Do it. Like, so when I started painting miniatures, I would stick pretty much religiously to the colour scheme that's sort of on the box. So all of my Skaven clan rats are red and black. And I think for me it was just a confidence thing. Like, I was learning from a tutorial, so having the exact same colours let me know whether I was actually doing it right or not. But as time's gone on, I've started to be like, no, I'm gonna go with my own thing on this. So, to be honest, actually, my character in Overlord's army is done in one of the Sky Cities colours, but that's because I really liked the colour scheme. But with Nighthaunt, I did my own thing, and again with like all the Warcry miniatures and stuff. Now I just pick colours that I think are exciting for me, which means I gravitate to a hell of a lot of like rich blues. But it's nice. But yeah, the colour cards are interesting because Warcry similarly has these cards that are like, here's a picture of your dude, here's what he should look like, and here are the stats. And obviously, if you diverge from their colour scheme, then you've got to work that little bit harder to identify them. I still think it's worth it. Like, it's just nice.
Yeah. And also, particularly in this game, so much of the color scheme is just like olive green and brown.
That's the thing. That's. I think that's why I've not bothered with any of the miniatures games like A Song of Ice and Fire, because it just feels like if you're playing by the rules, if you're doing it in the official color schemes, it's all going to be very, very drab, which is maybe silly because I hear those games are great. I just like doing something a bit different, a bit sort of strange and outlandish from time to time. Speaking of rich blues, I'm going to find my darkest blue and is that it? Cantor blue? Let's put some black in that. And I'm going to start on the sort of cloth wraps on this dude's arms. Basically, Matt, anything to stop me from having to make a decision about the hair. But yeah. Oh, that's a nice thing. Lynn has said, Johnny's model looks so full of character. A lot of it is the sculpt, but the colours really give it something else. That is very kind of you. Thank you.
Oh.
I've really been getting into underpainting and glazing, which is sort of what I've started to do with this guy. You can see on the underside it's black, and I've given it like a Zenithal highlight with the white. And then I'm going to sort of continue underpainting to build in tonal values first. I think I've already talked about this. I don't know. But yeah, it's a good technique. If like, I was talking to my friend about this. A good friend of mine is a tattoo artist with a fine art degree. So, you know, what he doesn't know about painting and stuff is very little. But he'd never painted miniatures before, and I sat him down one day and was like, here's a model, here are all my paints, just go. And he painted something beautiful. And in terms of like miniature painting technique, completely unorthodox. But he's been telling me all about tonal values and stuff like that, and like, yeah, it's good fun, but it feels like cheating. And like when I said this to him, I was like, it feels like I'm cheating. He was like, the best techniques do, but the thing is, what you got to bear in mind is there is no cheating. That's just not a thing. Like, that doesn't exist. And that was, like, oddly comforting. I think it's kind of nice when you feel like a layman or a rank amateur and someone's like, nah, if it works for you, that's valid. I think that's really nice.
Yeah. I think that's the thing is, like, I've come to accept that I am not the best miniatures painter in the world, and I'm certainly not close to kind of you or Wheels in terms of ability. But I'm kind of just painting these for my own volition, and that's fine. They pop on the table when I play with them, and that's kind of what I want them to do.
Perfect. There you go.
So I use like a lot of like strong colours, and I don't tend to highlight very much because at the same time, the board game has 15 to 20 goblins, and I don't want to spend 2 hours painting every single goblin. So at some point, it's just like, this goblin's, it's fine enough.
Done.
From, there we go.
Oh, this might be a mistake, this blue. We'll find out.
This green is not covered well at all. I live in a third floor flat. So when I went to spray my models, I had to kind of gently balance them out of the window on a piece of card and then spray them with the other hand, hoping that I wasn't about to drop them on random passers-by.
That's amazing. That blue, unfortunately, because I've gone for blue with the skin tones, just isn't working. So we'll ditch that idea. Alas. Oh, unless it will work for the hair. Would that work? No, too samey. Alas. Alack. I am lucky enough to have a garden, which is great. It was a priority when we moved house, because we moved house in order that we could get Watson. And so it's really handy, but when I went out... come on, words. When I went out into the garden to spray them earlier, I inadvertently met 2 neighbours I've not met yet. Because one of them was outside sitting in her garden on the phone, and I was like, shika, 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 with a can, and sort of looked at her and was like, oh, sorry for the noise. And then, when you feel like you're being watched, I turned round and somebody from the flat one up and over was looking out their window at me because I clearly disturbed them at work. I was just like, oh, sorry. Just like in my pyjamas. But
I don't think there's much of a way around it at the moment.
Not really, no.
With everyone being so close together all the time.
Ooh, we've got a super chat. From Zanzibar White, saying, not sure if this is your intention, but the blue and white give the figure a very ethereal quality, as if they are between worlds. Very cool. Oh, thanks. It was not my intention. But I am actually, the more I go on with this, the more I am warming to the idea of just giving them grey hair. Like a silverback gorilla.
Oh, I like that idea.
Won't paint their hair. Just leave it underpainted. Or highlight it. Let's do that. There we go. Zanzibar White, you're a genius.
If you could have a miniature to paint of kind of any character or person, what would you like to paint? Because I feel like there's a lot of, like, more and more there are miniatures in games of just various different, pop culture people or, but I feel like there are some probably quite interesting ones that have just never been tapped into.
God, that's a really good question. Do you have any ideas?
I don't actually. I feel like there could be some really interesting things from The Witcher, but that might just be because I'm playing a lot of The Witcher
fair.
as of late.
God, it's just tricky.
I feel like something colourful. Maybe what's the unicorn, the rainbow unicorn from Adventure Time? Something colourful like that.
Rainicorn.
Lady Rainicorn, yeah, or just Adventure Time characters in general are like big and colourful, and
I think that would be good fun. Like I played at PAX Unplugged last year. I played a preview of the Scott Pilgrim miniatures game, and the minis for that are really good. I really, really like those. Just go with red on that as well. No.
I think I looked at that game when it came to Kickstarter, but they unfortunately I think on the original Kickstarter they might have pulled it and then done it.
Really?
Or some images I saw, they were kind of just painted a little. I think they'd essentially been rushed to get to the Kickstarter campaign, so they were just a little bit off. I think that's the problem is like when you then get down to that amount of simplicity, there's, you know, every small thing suddenly shows up because you don't have detail to hide it behind.
Um, yeah, that's always like a bit of a minefield. There are so many pitfalls when it comes to painting miniatures. I think. Um, yeah. Sorry, I was a bit distracted by chat then, but God, other characters though.
I mean, I would love a more boss. I've
Oh,
always looked at those
Hero Forge. Yeah.
yeah, Hero Forge or the similar kind of 3D printed, but I think unless you're going to a certain level of quality, 3D prints can be a bit
They
grainy
can
and
and just
layered and so on.
yeah. Um, I'd love a Nick Cage series where you're just painting lots of different Nicolas Cages in various
Oh,
guises.
that would be good. For a second, I thought you said Nick Cave, and I was like, I mean, sure, Nick Cave is fantastic, but beyond Nick Cave looking sullen, I'm not sure the variations.
Nicolas Cage, on the other hand, now there are some variations you can get behind.
Yeah, Ghost Rider. Uh, is it Big Daddy from Kick-Ass?
Oh yeah, God, I'd forgotten about that. For some reason, I was thinking about him in Bad Lieutenant more than anything.
Oh,
That film's
wow, yeah.
haunting. Did they make a sequel, or did I imagine that?
Bad Lieutenant, yeah. Bad Lieutenant had a sequel.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. Funnily enough, it was so tipped green. I wonder what that would do. Let's have a look at you. Resin 3D printers have a better quality than the filament ones, says Hatronoth. I didn't actually know there were resin 3D printers.
Mm.
Oofed. Johnny, if you had to choose a character from any Gamer Network D&D campaign, which character would you choose? I can't answer that question in good faith, so I won't.
It's Tim the Goblin.
Tim the Goblin is right up there, obviously.
Although I bet Tim the Goblin would be impossible to paint. It would be like the cats we painted a couple of weeks ago because he'd be so small.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be hard. In terms of most fun to paint, I don't know. Oh yeah, that'll do. There we go. Bit more colour. There we go. I'm not going to glaze that on. I'm just going to paint it. Sod it. This is a bit thick. It's a bit thick. Glaze it on, Johnny. Come on. Come on.
Oh, I thought that was an elf ear, but I think one of his ears is behind his hair, so I've just painted a fake ear onto his hair. That's fine. I can fix that. Old Legolas Three Ears, that's what they call him.
Because he's got such sharp hearing.
Yeah, exactly. Walks on snow, 3 ears, the defining characteristics of Legolas.
Good at looking off into the middle distance.
And yeah, and I feel like if Lord of the Rings were remade today, Legolas would maybe be played as more of a comedic character in line with this is Dave Bautista's character in Guardians of the Galaxy, the guy that doesn't get any jokes.
Yeah, I know who you mean. I can't remember. I've
Drax.
not seen Guardians of the Galaxy actually. Guardians of the Galaxy actually, which should probably not help. Drax, is it?
Drax the Destroyer,
okay.
I think. But he's essentially just, you know, big and scary, but doesn't understand simple jokes. And I feel like Legolas would not be big or scary, but would just be kind of too haughty and whatnot to understand humour.
Yeah, I can feel you on that one, to be honest.
Yeah, this has really turned into like an elf hate
It
stream.
really has.
Like,
I mean, don't get me started.
welcome to my TED Talk about why elves suck.
Next up, Drow, the fascists.
Oh, gosh.
No, I don't like that either. Oh, man, this bandage is proving really tricky. I'm just going back and forth on different colours. Okay. Not red. Trying to think of other things I'd like to paint miniatures from now. I love the aesthetic in Attack on Titan.
Oh, yeah. I bet there's some good anime series with good, just because there's so much visual kind of panache.
I'd love to just paint a Vegeta model, to be honest, because I bloody love Vegeta. I think he's amazing. I haven't watched Dragon Ball Z in a long time, but when I was, when I was like right in the middle of it on Cartoon Network, they were showing the Frieza saga at a painfully slow pace. I mean, Dragon Ball Z is not a fast-moving show anyway, unless you're watching those re-edited ones where they've sped it up.
Yeah, Kai is quite good, I would say. That's what I've gone back to recently. As the team's anime correspondent.
Right. Would that work? That's got a better shout at working. Let's try it.
I'd paint an Evangelion. Like an Eva. But that's because they're just block colours. Big fan of just like big purple block colours.
I find mechs really boring. Well, not mechs boring, but I think in terms of painting, I find vehicles a bit dull.
Yeah, I've never been all the Warhammer 40,000 vehicles. I've never found that attractive. Although, having said that, I really like the Adeptus Titanicus mechs.
Oh yeah,
just because they're big old stompy machines.
Jeremy Rock has done a super chat and asks, "Hey Johnny, if you weren't DMing, do you have an original character you would like to play as? I've always wanted to play a Sverfniblin. I don't even know what one of those is. I always gravitate toward dwarves. So when I played in Rollover and Die's campaign, Rollover and Die are a sort of a sister channel to ours on the network. It's the MCM team playing D&D. It's really good fun. I guested and I was a dwarf. I appeared on Adventurers Wanted, which is another good stream you should check out. I was a dwarf. I just feel a natural affinity with them. So they're kind of like... they bear grudges. They're fond of ale. They're sort of stout and a bit like duchty without being... I don't know. I like them. I like dwarves. So that's what I play as. Although at the minute in a friend's campaign, in D&D specifically, I'm playing as a French tabaxi, which is great fun.
I think dwarves have a good pirate vibe.
Yeah.
I feel that's very much your aesthetic. Beards, grog, kind of,
I'm into that. I mean, I'm wearing a Joyful Damnation t-shirt from EGX 2019, so, big up the pirate cruise. I don't know why I felt like a tabaxi would be such a good fit, because actually we're playing in Saltmarsh in this D&D campaign, so we are all playing as pirates. And despite the fact he's got a minor phobia of water, I just felt like a tabaxi would be a really good fit for a pirate.
Ship's cat.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was angling for at first. In fact, I bargained my way onto their ship saying I'd get rid of all the rats if they paid me 1 gold piece.
You dirty rat.
You dirty rat. Not sure about this. I've turn these bandages a weird purple. You know what? Again, like the hair, they don't have to have a colour. Let's make them dirty white. There we go. That'll do. That'll have to do. Because if I have one more little crisis of self about this arm of one miniature, it's probably all over for me. Come on. There we go. Luke F has done a super chat saying, "I will take a single gold piece, my good sir." Thank you for your gold piece. It supports the channel beautifully. Okay.
I'm not quite sure why I've tackled Legolas in this order, but now his face is coming together, the bow is painted, the cape is glamorous.
It looks awesome. I'm properly into that. That's brilliant. Sorry, I'm getting a lot of pictures because my wife is on a walk with the dog.
Oh.
Do you have a particular method you normally go by when you're painting minis?
None at all, to be honest. I feel like I don't really have a method for miniatures in any sense of the word. I just kind of do it by by heart, I guess. I paint the bits I'm interested in, or the bits that make sense. So I'll paint big areas of surface first, obviously,
Yeah.
kind of up from the bottom. But yeah, I just find that for whatever reason, I probably have very poor technique. But again, I'm just kind of doing it
And again, I think
for the
it's
fun
if
of
it
it.
works for you, it works for you. You know, like that's
Yeah.
perfect. I used to do it. Somebody told me you should think of it like the model's getting dressed. So you start with skin, and then you do clothes, and then you do accessories and whatever. But increasingly, like you, I just whatever makes sense to me is what I'll do next. And if there's a bit I want to do, then that's a nice place to start. You know,
Yeah.
this is not a bit I want to do. This arm, this bandage. To be perfectly honest with you. Lennon asks if you're accidentally painting Robin Hood, Matt.
Not quite. Do you mean the Fox Robin Hood? I could just paint his skin orange and try and
Sculpt some
I was
ears.
gonna say try and furry up
Do
Legolas,
it.
but I don't.
I don't want them to make a live action version of that film, Matt. Like a live,
Oh,
live
right, yeah,
action
Disney
animal
Plus, right?
version, like Cats. They shouldn't. They just shouldn't do it.
I mean, even outside of the Disney version, the last live action Robin Hood, not necessarily
Is
great.
that the Russell Crowe
One
one?
might even say bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really terrible. I saw it in the
I
cinema.
haven't seen it.
I've seen many a terrible film in the cinema, and yet that probably stands out as one of the
Oh
absolute worst.
wow,
It's
that
really
bad.
shocking. It's shocking.
God. Okay.
Although I also find Russell Crowe incredibly hilarious in almost every film.
Yeah.
I remember watching Les Mis and his Javert. Every time I was just absolutely crying with laughter, which, given that Les Mis is not a comedy,
No, not at all.
probably looked quite strange on the plane that I was on at the time. But
Of course you're on a plane. That's perfect. Oh, that makes me so happy.
you know, the worst thing is I was watching Les Mis on this plane, and Les Mis is about 3 hours
Yeah.
long, even the film. And the plane landed about 10 minutes from the end.
Ah.
So I've never seen the end of Les Mis
Oh man.
in any form. Well, I assume everything worked
Oh
out.
yeah.
Uh,
The fight scene's incredible, and then the choreography at the end just blows you away. Really does. Okay, I am officially losing it with this model to the extent I might, even though I tweeted saying I'm going to finish this model today if it's the last thing I do, I might. No, I'm going to keep going. It's fine. Don't worry. It's fine. It's fine. Chill out, Johnny. It's cool.
yeah.
These bandages are just going to be an off-white. That's fine. I was this close to switching to the other model. But again, this will just become my white whale if I don't finish it.
Oh, now there's a set of miniatures that would suit you down to the ground.
Oh, yes, please.
The Moby Dick collection.
Yes, please.
You got Moby Dick, you got Captain Ahab, you got Ishmael.
There's the coin on the mast. There it is. That's there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, Matt. If they did a diorama of a whaling vessel, like when they've actually caught some whales in Moby Dick before they get onto the full chase, and they're using the Triworks to like render it down into blubber, and well, render the blubber down into oil, I would 100% paint that. That would be amazing. Like the weird. No one ever remembers this bit. The homoerotic trance that Ishmael and everyone goes into when they are squeezing all of the lumps out of the like the fine oil they get from the head of the sperm whale, which is where they get the name. Hilariously, it comes from a bit of the whale called the junk. But it's like it's a really fine oil. It's like the best oil you can get from a whale. So it's already liquid, but there are clumps in it. And so there's this entire segment of Moby Dick where they are all squeezing the lumps together, and their hands are like mingling in the liquid, and it's like it's basically they go into a trance where it's so pleasant that they forget where their own hands end and another man's begin, and they just have this ecstasy of squeezing and being in close contact with one another, and it's bizarrely tender given everything around them is death, but yeah. I would 100% paint that. If any, companies that make models are watching, if they could get right on that, that would be awesome. Okay, thank God.
Is,
No one remembers that. That is all I remember, says Veronica.
yeah, I was going to say there's like a whole chapter dedicated to whale penises as well, isn't there?
Yes.
But they just discuss whale penises. That's what I took away from Moby
Yeah.
Dick, along with the fact that I really enjoyed the book. But
There's the guy
I
who
just
who
remember.
basically makes a big like snood out of the like he just skins the dick and just cuts a face hole in it. It's like woo in this apron. Yeah, tremendous.
There is a Moby Dick card game. I know it's kind of. I think it was like a fan made
I
thing.
own it. Moby
Yeah,
Dick or the card game as it's
that's
officially
it.
called.
Yes.
It's quite good fun. Have you ever? Did you actually play it?
No, I always wanted to, but I could never get a copy.
Well, I've got one. Christian Donlan of Eurogamer has one.
Of course,
Uh,
that makes
Ooh,
sense. That checks out.
Frodo Baggins has done a super chat saying, "Have you ever played Stars Without Number? Either of you? I've been loving the newest edition. The space setting has been great to get lost in during isolation. I have. I've played a few sessions of Stars Without Number, and I like it a lot. I was playing with somebody who it was their first ever role playing session, and they made this incredible cultist called Mother, who only spoke in the third person and was terrifying because they were great at kung fu, but also the guy playing as Mother is incredibly softly spoken anyway and has this like wonderful presence. So it would just be like, Mother would like to help you, and everyone would go like, oh. That was great fun. But anyway, Moby Dick or the card game, yes. It's basically you make a deck of encounters and stuff that's got whales shuffled into it. But you also play through chapters of the book, so you can put in as many as you want, and if you want to, you can play through the entire novel, basically. And every chapter, you've got a different condition. It could be bad weather, it could be one thing or another. So there are all sorts of variables. And you have to weather these storms, literal and metaphorical.
Nice.
And as you go along, eventually you start hunting whales and you put men in your party. You can lose crew members to catastrophes. You can bribe other people's crew members away by paying them in barrels of whale oil. It's a really weird kind of lyrical book game in the same vein as the novel. And every time I've played it with people, they've been like, yes, I believe I liked that. But in that slightly uncertain, was it all a dream sort of sense. So, can recommend. Once we're all back in the office and stuff, I will gladly bring it in and we can have a game.
Oh, cool. I'm looking forward to that. There's a question for you. What piece of... Because I feel like we've answered the question, what would you like to see made into a game? And I think we've mentioned a few books here and there. But what piece of classical literature would you like to see made into a board game or a card game?
Ooh.
Take the stream highbrow.
Yeah, let's really work this. Ulysses by James Joyce. No, it's got to be Beowulf.
Just that bit on the beach.
Yeah. Oh God! Just watching somebody from behind a sandbank and fidgeting. Oh man, that book. For me, it would have to be Beowulf.
Oh, that's good.
Or Anglo-Saxon stuff in general. I studied it a lot at university and I still absolutely adore it. What's quite nice at the minute is, like Facebook is like, ooh, remember this? And it shows you a memory. And, sometimes it'll be like...
Does it show you the 14th century?
Okay, that was a really good burn. No, but with me at the minute, it's reminding me of this time... 11 years ago when I was really sorry, I just saw a comment from Alyssa saying Wuthering Heights so I can tell Kathy to F off again. Brilliant. I was like chest deep in Anglo-Saxon translation, so I kept making Facebook statuses that are just written in Anglo-Saxon, so now I'm sort of retranslating them and being like, oh yeah, and remembering tidbits, and also it's just a weird insight into how much of a tosser I was back then, and B, like what I was thinking at the time. That isn't just like, lol, like who's coming to Walkabout or whatever. Other terrible bars are available, obviously. How about you? What sort of what high piece of art would you render into?
I mean, I love Ulysses, which makes me, yeah. I don't think I've ever grown out of the tosser phase, but I feel like you could make a really good game out of the end of Macbeth, where the army is disguised as trees, and you could make it a hidden movement game, and the trees have to sneak up on Macbeth.
Matt, that's genuinely brilliant. Like, I really want that to exist. Oh, that's perfect. I couldn't get on with Ulysses, much as I tried. I did an entire term studying just that book at university, and I just couldn't get through it. Like, when I read the first chapter, which I know is them teaching you how to read Ulysses, I'm like, I like this a lot. And then the minute it changes and the book actually starts, I can't make sense of it. I mean, I haven't tried in over a decade now. So maybe I should have another swing, but I just couldn't get to grips with it.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it's definitely one of those things where it's written by someone deliberately looking to be as obtuse as possible. Like James Joyce was just the most pretentious of pretentious people.
Yeah.
He's like, people won't understand this for 100 years. Oh, well, shut up, James. It's about a guy wiping his bum with a book.
Yeah.
Like, it's, you know, but despite that, I do really enjoy it. And so I kind of found the opposite in that I I read it with a guide first way through, which helped, I think, kind of like a here's how this parallels the Odyssey, all of that kind of thing.
Okay.
And then reread it, but was actually like, oh, okay, the fun of this is you can kind of find in it what you want. You know, there's this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
But
Well, I once.
yeah,
Sorry, carry on.
I know. I was going to say I then have recently been trying to read Finnegan's Wake for the first time,
Oof.
which that is a yeah. I don't know. I'm not quite enjoying it yet because it just takes one step further. It's like most of this just feels like gibberish.
Yeah.
There's not even like a familiar structure to hang to.
Oh wow. What was I going to say? I did have to do a half-hour presentation once on that chapter of Ulysses that's just 2 or 3 sentences.
Oh, the last chapter.
Yeah. And you know what? That was fun because I just got to play around with what I thought the interpretations of the different noises were, and like, is this a barking dog or is it a headboard banging against a wall and all that kind of stuff. That was fun, but God damn it, what was I going to say? I had something right on the tip of my tongue then. James Joyce, yeah, quite deliberately abstruse in his writing. However, I don't know if you've ever read the love letters he sent to his paramour.
Yes, I have.
They are literal as you like. They are. I hastily warn anyone who is watching this who is now considering Googling James Joyce love letters. Extremely not safe for work. Just consider yourself forewarned. They are spicy in the extreme. Yeah, like, they will make you blush. So just, if you're of a sensitive nature, just carry on watching this nice paint stream. And if you are going to Google them after this paint stream. I don't want you reading that smut while we're just talking about miniatures. Honestly. Well, that's the entirety of literature covered now.
Yeah, I feel like sorry, I really took this off into.
No, I live for this kind of stuff, and it's kind of, let's face it, if I tried to do this with Wheels and Lowlies, they'd tell me to go back to Shoreditch. So.
Shoreditch, known for English literature. Them, yeah.
But I mean, Wheels would probably just be like, "All right, Dad," and then he'd lay into me about that. Was it good smut though? Says the amusingly named Dick Scatberg. Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, some people have already read these. Yes. Sleepy time. I've even lost the comment. somebody with the username Sleepy Time something 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 uh, said Catch 22 would make an incredible board game. You'd never finish, but
Oh
you'd have an
yeah.
amazing time. I think that should be a hidden movement game where one of you is playing as the Italian lady who really wants to
Oh gosh.
murder thingy.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Oh no. Loli's is in the chat. She will have heard us naysaying about their hypothetical naysaying. Oh well. How are you, Lolies? Don't know why I paused.
Thank you for joining us. Well,
Oh god.
I was going to say thank you for joining us on the podcast this week, Loli's. Loli's making her first appearance.
Yeah, it was lovely actually.
It was really good. I'm vastly enjoying just having different combinations of the team on each
Yeah,
week,
it's very nice.
chatting all sorts. Because it turns out there's not a lot of board game news at the moment, or board games coming out due to everything. But it does mean that we're playing quite a few games, and there's plenty to talk about.
Yeah, like the kind of from the outlining rather document, it kind of feels like what are we playing at the minute should be a quick piece, and I assume in the fullness of time it will become sort of a brief opener to sort of get us into the swing of things. But while there's so little news to discuss at the minute, it's just quite nice to just kick back and really spend some time talking about what we're actually playing.
Yeah. Allow Mian's brain to just unfold before us.
Wow, Patrick Burke has done a frankly enormous super chat and says thank you for the awesome constant content during this time. It is greatly appreciated. Thank you, Patrick. That is incredibly generous.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I'm glad you are enjoying the content because similarly, I think while it's proving a support for some people, it's proving quite beneficial to be making it. So everyone wins, really.
Yeah, I've been very thankful for it these past few weeks.
I would also like to say sorry to Dick Scatberg, who said that's the second time I've been roasted for my name by this Dicebreaker team on stream. I only said it was amusing because it was appropriate given what we were talking about. But nonetheless, you deserve better, and I would like to apologise. The Divine Comedy would be amazing as a board game.
Yes, I am a fan of the Divine Comedy. Although I feel like it would just be go from place to place meeting famous poets and then just like insulting random Italians that Dante didn't like. Because that's most of that book. It's just like, oh, here's like, here's Virgil, here's this another Greek philosopher, here's a Greek storyteller. Oh, by the way, that Italian poet, he sucks.
Yeah, I'd play that. Okay. Hair. The hair of this guy. It needs a colour. But what should that colour be? Annoyingly, the light's changed quite a bit. I'll turn this lamp off and see if it will correct itself. Okay, chat. Here's what I'm thinking. Come on, focus up thing. So you've got this kind of bronze going on up here. This is really weirdly not focused. Bronze going on up here, sort of a bluish dark skin, and then you got the red robes. The bandages, which you can't see too clearly, are wrapped around this arm, and I've gone with sort of just making them an off-white colour because it just makes them stand out a bit better. So while I did want the hair to be greyish and white, now I don't think that'll work. But with this sort of pinkish red and the blue hues, I don't feel like I've got many options in terms of colours. So please, help. Blonde, orange, white. I did just try purple. Emma Benton says, insulting Italian artist. That sounds like my art history 2 class in college. Black hair with red highlights. White or something wild like bright blue. He feels like a ginger. I suppose we could go orange.
There's something about just having a big old mane of orange hair versus the blue that I think is a...
Teal and orange is a classic combo. White with violet highlights to match the loincloth thingy. I think... Let's go. Let's try orange. Let's try it. Yeah, let's do it. Phil Tyler, if you need to fall asleep during this stream, you have our permission, especially if you've got radiotherapy this afternoon. I hope it goes well. So yeah, you take some time off and have a little sleep.
I just received a message from Loli's, which is, I have been chosen. I'm the chosen one this week to read out Loli's joke. Loli's joke of the week. Although Loli sent this to me with absolutely no context, so I was completely confused. Okay, so I apologise to Loli's because I will not do this justice compared to her delivery. So, Johnny, thank you so much for explaining the word many to me. It means a lot.
Okay, I like that one.
That's a good one.
I actually like that one. Of course, you know where most men get their water. From a well.
The well, actually.
That was nicely synchronised.
That was my immediate worry, is because that joke came through with no context, and I was like, oh no, have I just, like, mansplained Loli? I was like, I don't remember.
Ooh, throw in some gold highlights to emphasise the ginger, says Veronica.
Ooh, that's a very good idea.
Alright. I can make this work. Because I've only gone and got... I say gone and got. It's one of the first paints I ever bought, and I've not really used it. I've got a gold dry brush paint. Let's do this. Let's get weird with it. Sorry, I didn't mean to clap, if that was slightly alarming. Okay, what's the darkest hue? Squig orange. Okay. Orange might make him resemble Blanca from Street Fighter, says Zanzibar White. I'm fine with that. I used to love Blanca when I was a kid. I used to try and play as him all the time, even though I was bad with him. Although that said, growing up, my brother and I played Mortal Kombat over Street Fighter.
I was going to say I was always Mortal Kombat.
Who was your favourite?
I really like Scorpion, and then which I know is the obvious choice because that's kind of the, back to basics, but he's a flaming skull ninja. What's not cool about that? And then I got into Cabal.
Oh yeah.
Who I really enjoy.
So, because again, what's not to love about the flaming skull guy? My brother was very much into Scorpion, so I got very much into Sub-Zero. Although now in the more recent Mortal Kombat games, he's too slow. They've made him into like a big bruiser rather than the sort of nimble anti-Scorpion ninja that he was. But I also love Kung Lao. But I think honestly my go-to is Raiden.
Oh, Raiden's good.
Just great fun.
Kung Lao, I think Kung Lao maybe has the best fatality of any Mortal Kombat thing, just because it's utterly horrible. Is it the or that they're all quite horrible.
Which one do you have in mind? There are so many.
The buzzsaw one, where he throws his hat into the floor and then drags someone through it like a piece of wood.
I thought it might be
which is horrific, but also just kind of brilliantly. Yeah. Please excuse me for 5 seconds. I need to get my bread out.
I wonder what that beep was.
Because it's beeping at me. Excuse me, audience.
This is why I don't buy electronic bread.
I would share this bread with you if I could, but share it over the internet.
Okay, slapping on some orange glaze. This is going to take a few coats before it actually starts to pop as a colour, but we'll see. We'll see. Oh, Loli's is using her non-mod account. Add as moderator. Now you're a moderator. There you go, Loli's. Well, it feels good to have made a decision, or at least let you all make a decision for me about this miniature. Well, it's getting a bit dark. It's quite hard to see. Maybe I should put that lamp back on. Although it makes it harder for you to see. How's the bread? Can't hear you.
It is cooked. I muted my
Ah,
microphone. That would explain it. I'm an expert at this whole thing. The other day, it came out very
go ahead.
poorly. I don't know what I did because I'm pretty sure I put all the correct ingredients in and pressed the right button, but it came out and there were just kind of pockets of uncooked flour.
Wow.
So you would cut in and then there would just be like a small pocket of flour, which was very
That
odd.
is odd.
But it's been a while since we were using the bread machine, but because my wife is still going to work,
Oh.
she is a key worker.
Well,
So
thanks to her, frankly, for carrying on in these times. So that's got to be scary. But yeah. Sorry, carry on.
yeah, and obviously I'm working from home, so it's just a little easier to just stick it all in and press the button and
Yeah.
go.
For the first time in my life, I ordered a veg box because
Ooh.
the nearest shop to us, where we've been sort of getting our groceries to tide us over and sort of keep our staples topped up, doesn't carry veg. So we've been a bit like,
Oh, what?
we've been existing off sort of frozen sweet corn and stuff. And then we were like, you know what, let's treat ourselves. So we got this veg box, and they brought, like, it was amazing, like chard and beetroot and some amazing bread. It's been a revelation, to be honest.
That sounds lovely.
I might do it again as a little treat soon. I mean, I guess we got paid yesterday, so that helps.
We did.
Here's how this guy's coming on, everybody. It's really not easy to see. I'm into this. God, I'm so sorry about the lighting on this. But come on, what we need is sort of a bit more. No, that's rubbish. But I promise you. There we go. That's a bit better. It's coming. It's coming on. I will post pictures of this once it's done on Twitter. Hello, I'm Duke N has done a super chat with a that looks like a Shiba Inu pumping a fist in the air, saying, "Hey, how's it going?" It's going all right, thank you. Tiny, excited dog, and also Duke N.
Yeah. It's always going that bit better when you have an excited dog around you.
Absolutely. Mine's not in the house.
Oh,
He's on.
your model is looking very good,
thank
Johnny.
you.
Here's where I'm at.
Hey, that's come on pretty
Getting
quick.
there. I'm not sure what colour to do the old, I don't know what to call it.
Crotch
It's like
cloth.
a tunic thing. Yeah, flap, crotch flap. Because like it feels like it should be green or brown, but then I feel like that's just going to blend in. I want it to stand out a bit.
I would almost think some more red.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe red with a white edge.
Ooh,
like that.
yeah.
But maybe I'll do a slightly different red.
Hello. There we go. Oh.
We've had a message from Honey.
I was just noticed that. Thanks, Honey. Honey, for anyone who doesn't know, is, I mean, who at this point would be watching a Dicebreaker stream and ignorant of the existence of Honey? Honey is Loli's cat.
If you could get Honey to super chat next time, Lollies, that'd be great.
Actually, like £400 to £600 would be ideal, but obviously,
Or a couple of pads.
yeah.
Cat pads.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
this is fun. This orange is good fun. Well done, team. And I'm going to dry brush this with some gold.
Ooh,
We've just passed the halfway mark. It's 4 o'clock.
Are we really?
Yeah. So I should be able to. Yeah, time flies when you're painting minis.
It does.
There have been times when I've been like, oh, just do a bit, and then genuinely on the weekends, sometimes 8 hours have gone by.
Not sure how I'm feeling about this red. It's a bit vivid.
It is.
It's
quite
really
scriptogram,
drawing
isn't it?
attention to the crotch.
The important thing is, you tried. Again, it's. I guess the real question here, Matt, is what sort of Legolas are you going for here? Are you going for like
a leggy lass? Oh no! Wait, yeah, that doesn't play as well as I thought it would.
I'm into it. Maybe that's what they should do if they reboot the films again. Is just like make him into a horrible Lothario.
They should, that Jenga game we were discussing the other day, where you play Jenga, but every time you pull out a block, your fingers get
Yeah.
longer. They should do that with Legolas. Only every time he's haughty, his legs get longer.
Yes.
So at some point, he's just like 120 feet high, plus 6 inches of snow, and just looking down on everyone, unable to understand the joke.
Oh, please. Oh, that would be incredible. Or every time he connects with a shot from his bow, he gets taller. So
that's good. Yeah.
Towards the end, they cut to him less and less in the action scene because he's just above the clouds swearing because he can't hit anything. Like
he gets taller, but his arrows get smaller. So he's firing like tiny needle-sized arrows.
And then he's brought to trial by Aragorn immediately after the battle at Minas Tirith for having killed 400 Gondorians. And they've got the evidence because all of his tiny arrows are incredibly distinctive. That's what I'd watch. Like if Netflix commissioned 3 series of a courtroom drama and it was just the trial of Legolas, I'd be right into that.
The Trial of Legolas. Was it like American Crime Story, but it's like Middle Earth crime story?
I'd cast Kieran Hines as the prosecution lawyer. Kind of like that. He does that sort of grizzled, bullish very, very well. Han Solo Chewbacca says, have you ever seen the Bakshi Lord of the Rings films in the 1970s? The Balrog has fluffy bunny slippers. I do not remember that. I can remember those films very, very vaguely because my grandfather had them on VHS, and I remember Gollum being in a little boat, or is that The Hobbit? And swimming out and literally being like, Gollum, Gollum. That's how he sort of did the Gollum thing, rather than obviously the Andy Serkis cough wretch.
Am I right in thinking there was like an audiobook version of Lord of the Rings that was narrated by Leonard Nimoy?
I hope there is.
Oh, I might be getting confused with something else. I could swear Leonard Nimoy was involved with some Lord of the Rings project somewhere.
There was very nearly an animated version of The Lord of the Rings with the Hobbits voiced by the Beatles, but thankfully that did not come to pass.
Oh yeah, wasn't that a George Harrison joint? I think he was big into it.
That makes sense.
I also didn't know if you were making just a George Harrison joke with All Things Must Pass.
No.
Just like this Lord of the Rings movie.
No. I have to admit my Beatles knowledge is scant at best. Just never really listened to them growing up.
Leonard Nimoy did a song called Bilbo Baggins. Thank you, chat. That's probably what I'm thinking of.
Oh, there we go. And Linnorn says, yeah, it's the Hobbit. He looks like a frog. Gollum. Gollum. Gollum.
Sound like a football chant.
Gollum.
Gollum.
What? That's what we're going to do? We're going to Gollum?
Exactly, yeah.
That's what football fans need. A few more literary references, eh?
Yeah. Get Led Zeppelin on the case. Get them to write a football chant.
Alright, that's some progress. He's going to need some more coats. But he's got this kind of dirty orange hair thing going on at the minute, which I'm quite into. He looks almost like... is it Tormund in Game of Thrones? Tormund Giant's Bane or Giant Slayer or whatever it is?
Giant's Bane, I think. Yeah, he is very good. He was in a film that I watched recently. Oh, I think it may have been Midsommar.
Oh, I haven't seen Midsommar yet, and I really want to.
I only caught it the other day, and I would highly recommend it.
What's it on?
I believe it's on Netflix.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, amazing.
Other streaming services are available.
Indeed. I wonder how many more coats of this I need to do. Let's go back to the bandages and then we'll see. It's lovely to see chat all getting on and talking amongst themselves, especially since staring at plastic pieces and daubing paint onto them is not necessarily conducive to watching chat that closely. We're doing our best, I promise.
I once again apologise for the top of my head you may be seeing. Although, depending on your preference, that may be preferable to the front of the
Oh, come
face.
on, man. Don't do yourself down like that.
That's right. I live for the self-depreciating jokes.
Largely same, to be honest.
Okay, I'm trying to paint over the red that didn't work on the old crotch flap with a slightly different green, which I
Oh,
think
that's nice.
is
Yeah, that
working.
ties
And I
it
think
together a lot better.
once it's been ink washed, it will kind of take out some of the vividness of
Yeah.
it. So I think it will work.
Nice.
It's all coming up Legolas.
His ankles are wet, but his cuffs are burned dry. I think it's quite impressive that we've, at least as far as I'm aware, never had the which Lord of the Rings characters are we chat in the office.
Yeah, maybe because it's just an assumed fact that you're Gimli. Wheels is Boromir, probably.
Yeah. Oh no, we did have this conversation
It might have
the other
just
day, didn't we? About we agreed that Wheels would be like one of the Rohirrim. He's
Oh
like
yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, yeah. I think maybe I've just got Sean Bean in my head because when I was playing Scythe last night with me and Wills, he was doing impressions of Boromir, of Sean Bean the entire time, his impression was shouting one particular word that I can't repeat on stream, which I believe is like a Sean Bean thing from somewhere. But is it sharp?
Have
Okay.
we said it on?
Yeah.
I think it's within the realms of acceptability on this channel, personally, but
I don't know. Will we get demonetized
oh god,
for
no,
it?
bastards! There we go.
That's
We
the one.
absolutely
Yeah.
won't get demonetized for that.
All right.
I'm pretty sure Wheels and I have said that on videos before, because you can't impersonate Sean Bean without saying bastard.
Oh, see, when I think of Sean Bean, particularly recently, I either think of Sean Bean from GoldenEye, so it's like, for England, James! Yep. Or it's Sean Bean from Civilization 6, because I've been playing a lot of that with my wife. And so it's just a lot of, you've discovered writing.
You've had a eureka moment, and now you know how to look after a cow. My friends and I have a very strange joke that all began in Sea of Thieves, because I was impersonating Sean Bean, as one does. It's a thing people do. And then the moon came out really strongly in Sea of Thieves, and somebody went, well, I mean, we were all impersonating Sean Bean, but somebody just went, the moon. And someone else went, my greatest enemy. And since then, we've been obsessed with the idea that Sean Bean hates the moon. So we'll just occasionally send each other like that meme shot of him saying, it is a gift, with his hand sort of cupped. The one does not easily walk into Mordor meme, but just with, please help me destroy the moon. And then, of course, some brilliant person released a video game called Deliver Us to the Moon. So we would just send each other shots of that, being like, Sean's got a plan, don't worry about it.
That's very good.
Sean Bean wants to destroy the moon, pass it on.
That's Sean Bean canon.
Yep.
But he just keeps getting killed.
Yeah, that's
every time.
I don't know if he would use a cannon. Wait. Okay, let's push things forward. Time to paint some teeth.
Ooh.
In fairness, this is a pretty massive model, so it's not that challenging.
Big old teeth.
Big old
teeth.
Teeth.
I'd like to go back to my character of Teeth at some point. I was fond of Teeth.
What's this?
This is in the Root RPG.
Oh,
which people can watch now on the Dicebreaker YouTube channel. But I played a beaver called Teeth, who I essentially came up with in the space of about 15 minutes.
Amazing.
And the joke was just that he's a beaver, he's an arsonist, and his name is Teeth. And
I love it.
That was funny enough for me to go, yep. But I grew very fond of him, along with Zoe Delahunty Lights. Oh gosh, I can't remember who she played. Oh, I can't remember the name of her character. I'm sorry, Zoe. but we were kind of an anarchist animal duo.
I mean, that sounds absolutely delightful. I've GM'd Zoe, obviously, in the Breakfast Club, the crossover D&D series between Dicebreaker and Eurogamer. But I've never played in an RPG with her, and I would like to fix that because I think she's brilliant.
I can confirm.
Ping. I was overjoyed when I saw she was joining Eurogamer. A good bunch of eggs.
Indeed.
So now he's got painted teeth. There we go.
I mean, that was quick.
Yeah, big teeth, but not that many of them.
That's what they say.
Yep.
You know what they say about big teeth? Not too many of them.
Otherwise they won't fit in your mouth. Deliver me the moon.
He's an absolute dentist's dream, this lad. I don't know, like, at points I worry that my shtick is Alan Partridge, but I don't know that I'm the Alan Partridge.
I think that comes for all of us at some point. That needs washing, doesn't it? An unforeseen side effect of me giving orange hair to this guy is that it's really started to pick up the yellow in the rock he's carrying. In an ugly way that I don't like. There we go, there's the focal point. If I hold this in front of my mouth, apparently, it's more or less in focus. Difficult.
Lemonade. I'll tell you some miniatures that I think would be fun to paint. There's Disney characters. I think something like Gaston. They've got very expressive kind of faces and postures, and even dimensions.
But then, if I were in charge, Gaston would definitely come with 5 dozen eggs. And do you really want to paint that many eggs by hand?
Yeah, you just spray them white, you're done.
Yeah, fair.
It's the barge you got to look out for.
Roughly the size of a bridge. Would Agrak's Earthshade fix the rock tone? Asks Veronica. You know what, mate? Let's find out right now. One sec. I'll get me shade brush. Five dozen eggs every morning to help me get large. It was there all along. Have you ever done Easter? Asks Mattress757. Yes.
In terms of...
I've never been crucified. Yeah. When I was a kid, I guess we used to get Easter eggs. One particularly good Easter, my brother and I got a Lindt chocolate bunny each in a copy of Master and Commander on DVD, talking of Russell Crowe in films.
Oh, wow.
That was a pretty great Easter, to be honest, because that film is amazing.
I was going to say, was there a particular Easter connection in Master and Commander?
No. And neither my brother or I had seen the film or necessarily expressed interest in it. I think my mum knew that we really liked Gladiator. Because,
okay.
You know, of course we did. So she was like, "Oh, there's Russell Crowe in a thing," and it's one of my favourite films. It's
that's really lovely.
Yeah. So
I also was a big fan of Gladiator. I used to just skip to the parts where they were fighting in the arena at some point. I stopped caring less and less about his dead son, and just wanted to see the man get hung on a hook on a wall again.
Oh
but
yeah. Oh, I used
I
to
was about 10 at the time. So
daintily put up there. I remember my brother going to see it in the cinema. I was too young. Not by much, I shouldn't think. When did Gladiator come out?
I want to say something like 2000. It might have been closer to 97 or
2000 is bang on, man.
is it?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
So I was 12. There you go. Oop.
Do you remember the first film you watched that you were too young to watch? Here's a question.
I think it was a Bond film. And I got away with lying and saying I was 14 because I was like, I'm not going to tell them I'm 12.
Oh,
Maybe I
really?
said it was 13. So I was like, if maybe they'll think that's less suspicious. But yeah, it was.
2004, Die Another Day?
No, I was in 2004. I was like 15,
Oh,
16.
sorry.
Tomorrow Never Dies.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Wait, is
that's
it
a great
no?
film as well.
Is it The World Is Not Enough? With the one with the torture table where he shoots his girlfriend. The one with Begbie from
Denise
Trainspotting.
Richards? Oh, yeah, no, yeah. That is you're thinking of Robert Carlyle.
Robert Carlyle, that's
It's
the one.
yeah, that's The World Is Not
Yeah,
Enough.
that one. That's the first one I remember sneaking into. I remember getting turned away when I tried to go with a bunch of my my gal pals at school to see Bridget Jones' Diary.
Ah,
So. Wow. Minion of Sephiria says, Johnny's only 32. The way they all joke about him, I thought he was like 40. Lol. I'm 31, actually. 31. So.
yeah, but it's like cats and dogs. You're 31 in Johnny years, but in human years, you're like 450 because you
Yeah.
were born in the 16th century and have been running Dungeons and Dragons games since.
Pretty much. Yeah, yes. As Aoife once put it when we were working together at Eurogamer, I can't remember. I said something. I was like, I'm not that old. And she went, no, but Johnny, you've got an old soul. It's just like, okay, all right.
And it possesses different bodies every 15 years.
Craig Penfold asks after favourite Bond themes.
Obviously, I think the one for Casino Royale by the late Chris Cornell, You Know My Name, is very good. I think The Living Daylights is pretty good. Is that the Aha one or is that the Duran Duran one? View to a Kill is also very good. It's the Aha and the Duran Duran ones. I have a lot of thoughts about James Bond themes.
Evidently.
Me and I discuss this very regularly.
I know you and I have already discussed the one from Casino Royale. Actually, I didn't realise it was Chris Cornell until you just said that, but I don't like that song. I quite like The World Is Not Enough. Was that Sheryl Crow? What was the one Sheryl Crow did?
Garbage is The World Is Not Enough. Sheryl Crow did Tomorrow Never Dies, I believe.
Oh, there we go. Until the day.
I honestly thought you were just singing Snake Eater then.
Everything's Snake Eater, Matt.
True.
The man with the
It's
golden gun.
the best James Bond theme is Snake Eater.
I would say the man with the golden gun shows the greatest disparity between quality of theme and quality of film, because that one is absolute hot garbage.
The film.
I can't stand the man with the golden gun. I can't stand Roger Moore. So, any of his films, to be honest, I'm livid about. But
Even Live and Let Die, actually, the real answer to this is Live and Let Die, which is quality as a theme.
So that's Agrak's Earthshade on the Rock, and yes, that has helped. So, thank you so much, Veronica. I owe you a drink.
Actually, thinking about this, I think the one that always gets overlooked because it doesn't have vocals, which is probably the best James Bond piece of music, is On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Just the instrumental, which is absolutely incredible with those opening synths where it's like bwah, 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 dum, 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 dum. And yeah, it's amazing.
Some shout outs for Goldfinger. Goldfinger's good,
Yeah.
but it's like, that's just... I was about to say that's just because Shirley Bassey is great, and it seems weird to do down someone's song because it's by them because they're good. But I also still mean that. It's like, Of course, Shirley Bassey does brilliant Bond themes. She's Shirley Bassey, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, like Diamonds Are Forever is pretty good.
Hello,
Again,
I'm Duken has done a super chat and asked, do you know of any good board game movies like the original Jumanji, not the current ones? Is that board games as in movies about board games, or
from the sounds of it, I'd guess so,
yeah?
right? Jumanji. I would say a film that I actually went to the premiere for, weirdly, and expected to be very, very rubbish was Game Night, which is a recent release. Uh, which is it's not based on a single game, but it's based around the concept of a group of people getting together for a game night and then things spinning out of hand, which is actually surprisingly funny and surprisingly clever.
Wow.
It's kind of based on it's got very strong echoes of a film that I now can't remember. That's like a proper full-on thriller, but it's actually worth watching. I've watched it multiple times at this point, and it's genuinely really good fun.
Board game films, I am at a complete loss as to be honest. Jumanji is about the only one I can think of.
There's not loads. There's because at points I've looked around for this as part of my job, and it's kind of like there's the original Clue,
Right.
Which I've admittedly never seen. There's the D&D movies, if you count those as board games, or expanded to tabletop games. And then, yeah, you kind of get into the realm of things that happen to involve board games but aren't based specifically on them. There is a Catan movie in the works, which I'm very intrigued to know what the heck that is.
I mean, I hope it's actually a really tender story about, like,
colonization.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, I really fell hook, line, and sinker for Catan there, didn't I? I was like, it's about just German people just like, oh, let's make a little village, but it's not, is it? It's so sorry, Germany. Sorry about that. It's not. It's about colonialism. Great. Good one.
But I think, yeah, it's because I've discussed this with a few people at points because a video game. It's the game. Thank you, Mattress 757. That's what Game Night kind of echoes is the game. I've chatted about this with a few people before. Whereas at video game conventions, you see people who dress up as certain characters. You never really see people do that outside of maybe Warhammer, where people dress as Space Marines.
True.
You never see people dressing as the trains from Ticket to Ride, or Meeple from Carcassonne, or Sushi from Sushi Go.
I'd love to dress as Kill Dr. Lucky, or Dr. Lucky.
Oh, that's a good one.
Lucky. That would be good.
Obviously, D&D has a bunch, and Magic has a bunch that people cosplay.
In fact, when MCM recently did sort of MCM Live, and they still do the cosplay stuff, someone did an incredible Prudence from the Oxventure. It was honestly amazing. And just humbling at the same time, to be honest. Just to be like, wow, that's, this campaign that I'm a part of is getting people actually cosplaying and entering competitions as those characters.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Can't wait for the first Tim the Goblin, obviously.
Yes, I can't wait for the first Morboss because I'm very narcissistic. To give a little plug, this week we gained a new sibling site in the form of Cosplay Central.
We did.
Which is all about, as it sounds, cosplay, which I've actually found really interesting as someone that likes dressing up as various things, including grumpy tieflings and whatever the heck I was on that Collier Jepson stream.
Brilliant is the answer.
Thank you. But I've never really got into proper cosplay, so I'm actually really fascinated to learn some more. So yeah, if anyone's kind of interested, go and check it out.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Cosplay Central. I believe the editor-in-chief was on the front page of Reddit for her Black Widow cosplay recently.
Yes, I think Kelsey was like, I'm Black Widow, but at home during the quarantine.
Which is just so badass. So you can't stop me. I know Mia's done some cosplay. She's cosplayed as Tracer from
Yes, she has.
Twitter profile picture. I have only ever considered cosplay idly, like at things like EGX and Rezzed or whatever. When we see people cosplaying, we always end up being like, what would you do then? And I refuse to shave off my beard, so that's a problem. So being a beardy white dude with sort of long hair, like
You could be almost every main protagonist from a fantasy
exactly,
game.
I am not. I am not struggling for options. However, none of the options are particularly inspiring. So I just haven't done it. Like, I think to be honest, before when my hair was short and my beard wasn't so long, so like in my GameSpot days, I could have done a pretty good Dr. Freeman from Half-Life.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Now I think I would basically have to be Caustic from Apex Legends, or nothing. And I suppose I could. No, I'd have to shave. Like if I did Wario, like it's I'm not going to say it's hard for me because
It's a struggle.
but I still nothing has inspired me. That's a better way of saying it.
Yeah, that's fair. I remember seeing, I think it was a Comic Con actually, many years ago, but maybe the most impressive cosplay I've ever seen, which was the xenomorph from Alien slash Aliens, which I'm a sucker for anyway, so it stuck in my mind. But it had kind of mechanical, it had a mechanical, like smaller mouth that jutted out, and all sorts, and they were accompanied by someone dressed as Ellen Ripley. So it was a perfect kind of two for two. But this animatronic or part animatronic alien xenomorph was just really, really impressive. You could tell a lot of work had gone into it, and it was about 7.5 feet tall.
Wow.
I believe they were on kind of the little stilt things or little whatever they're called.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. So years ago now, when the last Alien vs Predator video game was released, they had an event. It was a hands-on preview. So we went and did the hands-on preview. But as part of the event, they made us play laser tag in basically a converted car park, as laser tag and paintball places tend to be situated. And while we were playing laser tag, they had someone in a xenomorph suit running around and scaring the crap out of people.
That's an interesting
It was
thing.
terrifying. I think there's probably still video of what we shot in there floating around on the internet if you know where to look. But yeah, that was not fun. Not fun at all. Especially since I had a cameraman being like, "Go, run over there then. Run over there then." It's like, I'm literally in a war zone. Yeah, that was good fun. Somebody said I could nail Father Gascoigne from Bloodborne. That would be fun, actually.
Oh, wow.
Just by turning up to a place and then immediately running into everyone. Just being hyper aggressive.
You know what? I'll play one of the like the Dark Souls or Bloodborne kind of the people that you just slash up and they die in a single hit. They're just moaning at the side, just looking sad.
This town's finished. Tardigrade Mardi Gras says laser tag owns. I like laser tag. It's fun. I tried combat archery on my stag do a few years ago, and that was awesome. Oh, the dog's home.
Yeah. Welcome home, Watson.
She's having a big drink. You might be able to hear her in the background.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Oh, it's a thirsty dog.
My own furry companion is also having a drink and is now clawing me. Hello, Hole. What do you want? You're right.
Delightful.
Yeah. She's been asleep on the sofa for roughly 50 hours and has now decided to get up
to be a cat.
and complain. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Don't jump up. You'll get covered in paint. Oh, that's a very pleasing noise.
Ding.
Just a good dingle. A good dingle. Everyone loves a good dingle. Anyway.
Ooh, Emma Benton wants to do axe throwing for her bachelorette party, which is going to be some time from now. I wanted to do axe throwing for my stag do, but the axe throwing place was closed for that weekend only. So instead we did combat. We did archery tag basically, which is just stupid fun. You wear a face mask, you get a bow and some arrows that have foam tips, and you just shoot the crap out of each other. Wonderfully satisfying.
You know what? This Legolas is coming
Let's have a
along.
look.
There you go. There's the front.
Hang on.
Look
Keep
at.
holding him up. I'm going to embiggen you on the screen.
Oh no! Don't judge my
done
painting too
it.
much.
Mate, that was great. The work on the quiver is lovely. So look.
Thank you. I'm getting there.
Yeah. Nice. Get in.
It's the expert tutelage.
Excuse me. I hadn't taught you a thing, if that was a veiled compliment.
Oh, I almost just dropped all the paint on my lap. That's good.
Oh boy.
I don't have great history with keeping paint where it needs to be on these streams. By which I mean the one painting stream I've done previously where I exploded brown paint all over my table.
It happens to the best of us. I last year got a sort of a new table from IKEA to play board games on that folds away, and literally the next day I was like, I'm going to do some painting. I was like, should I put newspaper down because of this table? And I thought, you know what, I'm going to make an executive decision. No, if it gets paint on it today, that's fine, because it's going to happen. And the pretty much the only reason I bought this table was to play games with people while, you know, everyone's just spilling wine and whatever anyway, so may as well.
Fair enough. That is I feel like there's two types of people. Where it's like, well, we kind of discussed this a bit on the podcast, not to plug the podcast again, but where it's like you either sleeve your cards or you don't. You kind of either go off the bat and are like, okay, I'm going to look after this. I'm going to do everything I can in my power to protect this. Or you're just like, well, you know, it's going to get paint or it's going to get spilled upon or at some point. So let it live its life.
Exactly. This is a tool, not a decoration kind of thing. I tend to... I'm careful with things like board games and stuff, but with other things, while I'm not careless, I'm not overly sentimental about things. If something breaks, I'm like, that is inconvenient. Rather than, you know, I am devastated because I was really emotionally attached to said object. Which I find personally to be a useful way to be.
I think with the vast majority of things, everything can be replaced or you know, it's...
Yeah.
Or repaired or something like that, but...
Although I was at a friend's house a while ago and he put some hash browns in the oven because we were both hungry. And then he dropped them all in the door of the oven, like right in the hinge, and it just ate them.
Oh, no.
Like, rah, rah, rah. So he sort of came out with like half a hash brown and some mushed sort of bits of potato. And I didn't show it, but I was genuinely very sad because I was so excited. I love hash browns.
Yeah, they are delicious. There are some fantastic, they're like pumpkin hash browns, and they are very good.
They sound very interesting. Where are they from? Other pumpkin hash browns I'm sure are available, but...
I can't remember, to be honest. They're not I don't think they're a shop brand. They are some kind of vegetarian specialty brand, which I unfortunately can't remember right now. Otherwise, I'd be plugging them as hard as I can go because they're delicious.
If you're watching and you think that that's your brand, pay us some money and we'll talk about it. I'll text you my PayPal details.
Pay us in hash browns.
Oh, yeah, please. Yeah.
My hash brown subscription box will be launching soon.
I would subscribe to that in a heartbeat. I honestly would.
You know what? I think I'm going to give Legolas black boots, but with silver trim.
Yeah.
He's an
He's a
elegant
fancy
elf.
dude.
That and the fact that he's got so much leather and oak brown going on that I think making his boots brown is gonna it's just gonna be a bit boring,
Yeah.
isn't it? So
You've got to think, like, at the end of this, he's going to take a profile picture for a dating website. You know? You want him looking sharp.
I'm trying to think of a clever pun on elf or something, but
Oh,
I got nothing.
Me neither. Glad we had this chat.
Yeah, yeah.
Where did I put that? Where did I put that paint? Where I found it. Great. Never mind. Oh, Cats Against Humanity has not had access to hash browns since August. August?
Ooh. Wait, that's a
That is
really long
that
time.
is too long.
It's too long to go without hash
Jeez.
browns.
I bought a potato ricer solely for the purpose of making better hash browns. Like, where you grate the raw potato and then you squish the moisture out with the potato ricer. But it makes those, like, it's good for those flat hash browns you get that you make in a pan, but not like the little oven ready nuggets of brilliance that I so adore.
I remember I used to go to Fright Fest, the film festival a lot in London. I wonder if we ever crossed paths. But there was not far away from Leicester Square where it's held, there was an American breakfast diner, which served amazing food. Been there before. It was my wife, myself, and some friends, and we went there, and we were like, okay, we're about to watch 12 hours of films. Let's stock up on a good old breakfast. Let's get whatever it was at the time, and then let's get on the side. They did hash browns. It's like, oh, fantastic. We'll get a couple of those hash browns each. Hash browns not that big. You can just add it, give you a bit of good old potato stock in you to see you through a load of people getting hacked to bits.
Yeah.
And then the hash browns came out, and they were enormous.
Oh,
they
really?
were, quite honestly, almost the size of house bricks. Not just flat hash browns as you'd expect, but kind of proper cubic potato breeze blocks.
Oh my god.
And it was so much in the end that we genuinely couldn't finish it. And I am not someone that tends to leave food.
Right.
But I just couldn't physically eat any more of these delicious hash browns.
That sounds incredible.
I wish I remember the name of the place, because I would like to go back there
Yeah.
and order only one hash brown, but enjoy it immensely.
I would get two. I feel like it would not be... I would want your experience of feeling like I had made an error, It's like, when I used to work at GameSpot, there's a pub in Southwark called the Lord Nelson, which does incredible burgers. But it does one burger that's called, like, the Scooby Burger, I think it is. And it's like 2 burgers, either 2 beef or 1 beef, 1 chicken, and then 5 toppings from the list. And the toppings are generous. It's like, a fried egg, or lots of gherkins, or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Bacon, cheese, blah, blah. So, I worked around the corner from this pub for about 3 years. We used to go there a lot. I had my leaving drinks there, for example. And indeed, on my stag do, we went there for burgers, because it's great. But I had a Scooby Burger once just so I never felt the need to do it again. And it was actually genuinely harrowing. Like, I felt horrible afterwards. And I think at that time I could really eat, because the last time I went back to that pub and I had the burger I used to normally have, I felt unbelievably full. So, but like, the Scooby Burger was just an inhuman quantity of food.
Yeah.
It's that thing,
sounds
like
good,
when
mate.
you hear people telling off kids who come back from a buffet, they're like, "You're just being silly now. You can't eat all those skips," or whatever.
But you're shouting that through the door to the chef. I can't believe you'd even make food like this.
Well, the chef followed the food out so he could yell at me for trying. That was a big day. I mean, I didn't do much work that afternoon, obviously, but
I'm unsurprised.
yes.
It's like, I'd love to get back to my job, but I need to work on digesting.
Yeah. Oh dear. dear. We don't really have. We've not really worked out a Dicebreaker lunch spot in Brighton.
No, I've been to a few places with wheels.
Oh, of course, because you're in a lot more than I am.
But we're yet to just find a regular hangout spot. I very much enjoyed the meal we went for just before Christmas. That was very nice.
Yeah, that was lovely. I missed. There was a sandwich shop called Toast. The premises is now being converted into the Brighton Cereal Cafe, but they did the best sandwiches. They did these massive door stoppers where you could get it toasted, and you had to because otherwise you wouldn't fit it in your mouth. God, they were good.
Just compact it.
Yeah.
Take as much food and compact it into the smallest possible.
Apply heat and pressure. But they were so good. It's just so good. Ah, the impermanence of sandwich shops. Heartbreaking. Oh, there's a suggestion in the chat that Lolies makes hash brown Jenga for Dicebaker.
We can't just keep making Jenga out of different foods. Although, given how tasty the last Jenga shortbreads were, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to the idea.
I didn't try the Ticket to Ride cakes either. Loli saved me one, but then towards the end of that day, I had a really nasty argument with somebody over WhatsApp, and I was too full of adrenaline to eat anything. So I was like, "Oh, here." I gave up my cake.
Oh.
And I blamed that on my friend as well. I didn't. It's fine.
Lodi's is an incredible baker, I say.
The Azul tiles were delicious. Absolutely delicious.
I feel like we just need to come up with ever more complex bakes. If you can, in the chat, if you can name a bake that a board game that a souffle would apply to,
this is
answers on the back of a postcard.
Cruel, Matt Jarvis. As somebody who used to do a cooking program, this is cruel and unusual. This thing that you do. If you make random food Jenga and then play Dread, though, says Mortal Koala.
Oh, that's good.
That is good. I love Dread. It's tremendous. Although I always die early-ish. Which is disappointing. Hello and welcome back to a new episode of Dice Jenga Baker, says Lolies. See, it rolls off the tongue. That's absolutely ideal. I love it.
Dice Jenga Baker, presented by Dicebreaker, presented by... We're just going to end up so many layers deep into this pun.
Yeah. I thought Dicepainter was pushing it, to be honest. When Wheels first made a Dicepainter thumb, I was like, oh, don't know. Now look at us. Doesn't even get commissioned if it hasn't got a pun on Dicebreaker.
Them's the rules.
Christmas episode will be Dicebaster.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, very good.
A 20-part series in which we only role play as those scholars from Game of Thrones, Dice Maester.
Oh God. 4 hours of Lolies putting up wallpaper is Dicepainter. But the wallpaper, to keep it so it's Dicebaker still, it's like the wallpaper from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
And you can make wallpaper paste out of like flour.
Yeah.
I used to do that for just sort of covering furniture and bits of magazine or whatever. Chat will probably get some more. That was laboured, Johnny Chiodini, said Lolies. Yeah. I mean, most of my jokes are really. would say 10% of them are actually have a chance at being declared funny, and the rest of them are just delivered in a deadpan way that either makes the joke that I've made a bad joke and I'm waiting for everyone to just gang up on me about it, or I don't know what I'm saying anymore. The podcast name is still pun free. It's a very good point.
Yeah.
But then
Sometimes you just got to play it straight.
there's a beautiful purity to the Dicebreaker podcast.
I feel like because we're adding titles after it as well, that leaves plenty of room.
For whimsy.
I mean, we opened with Powerful Force Grimace.
Yeah.
And as you can imagine from the conversation that goes on, there's no lack of bizarre and entertaining titles. So I feel like you can't just go overboard, because otherwise it would be like trying to read some kind of bizarre hieroglyphics, because it would just not,
We're not James Joyce.
Exactly, yeah.
Hey, this guy's actually coming together. Thank goodness. Are you listening to anything particularly good at the minute, Matt?
I've been listening to the new Laura Marling album, which I'm enjoying very much.
It's very, very good.
I know that Mian is a huge fan. I haven't listened to it as many times as her yet, but it is extremely good. I'm very excited for the new Fiona Apple album, because I absolutely adore Fiona Apple. And other than that, I just kind of swing wildly between things. Soccer Mummy's really good. I've been listening to Ways Blood a lot. Just kind of, yeah. What have you been listening to?
I have been listening to a lot of Richard Dawson, who's a great folk artist, who put out an album called 2020, which is a bit of a departure from his normal folk stuff. But he's got songs about like being a civil servant, and there's a song about disappointing your dad at a football match by messing up a corner and all this kind of stuff. It's really wonderful, like really, just it sounds incredible. But I'm also listening to quite a lot of Amigo the Devil, which the specific genre is murder folk.
Wow.
But it's really like he's got this great voice with like this incredible like range on it. He can put so much sort of gruff intonation in it, but he's also just got a great set of pipes. And the reason I asked what you were listening to is because when you said like there are two types of people in this world, he's got a song which is like there's only one type of people in this world, people who die, and it's like it's about like we're all equal because we're all eventually doomed. And it's wonderful. I saw him live in the Before Times very shortly before lockdown, actually. Quarantine. And it was in a really tiny gig venue, and it was just so joyful. Like, he's such a showman. It's really, really wonderful music. Although some of it, like he's got a song written from the perspective of Jeffrey Dahmer. Like it's murderfolk.
Oh,
some
wow.
of the themes are pushing it a bit, like pushing the envelope a touch, we'll say. But oh, criminy! I haven't used this paint in quite a long time, and so this is a Citadel dry paint, and these paints are very, very thick because you're using them on a dry brush. But I haven't shaken this, and I've not used it in a couple of years, and it's kind of just solidified. I'll turn this lamp off. It's solidified into this weird paint tongue. Like, hang on. That is just nightmarish. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, that's not it. Well, that'll teach me. Where did that land? Because, oh no, it's just turned into a weird jelly now. Well, that's a bit of fun. Damn. Well, let's try and resurrect this paint, I guess.
What would you say the best like concert or gig you've ever been to is?
Ooh. That's tough. God, that is really difficult. Amigo the Devil was pretty up there. When I saw the Mountain Goats touring their album Beat the Champ, that was great. It was a full band gig in Shepherd's Bush Empire. They played, a bunch of hits. Everyone was just in a great, great mood. This paint has turned to jelly. This paint has actually just turned into a crumbling jelly. It's just jelly now. That's what this...
It's jelly now.
It's jelly now. Yep, that's...
This is where I'm at, by the way.
Hey, that's really come on quick. You just washed it, I assume.
Yeah.
Nice work on the
A bit
trim
of
of the
flesh
cloaks,
wash.
man. Hang on, let me embiggen it again.
Thank.
So I want to have a look. I know the... Oh no, I just moved you. There we go. Yeah, Legolas. Look at you, you haughty bastard. That's lovely. Sorry, I didn't mean
Thanks.
to drop the B-bomb again. Well,
Who do you think you are, Sean Bean?
God, I'd like to be.
Wouldn't we all?
Even in that picture of him getting out of a car with a laptop in his hand and a bag full of carling. Well, that paint is just screwed, isn't it? Top gigs. Merceau, the Mountain Goats, Frightened Rabbit, probably.
Oh
They
yeah,
played right
I think
around the corner from my house once. Yeah, stuff like that. What say you?
Frightened Rabbit I think would be right up there. I once saw them in Camden, and I just remember Scott Hutchinson coming out with just an acoustic guitar to play Poke, and it was just one of those things where the whole thing, everyone hushes or hushed, and yeah, it was incredible.
Oh my god! So I saw him in Camden at the Roundhouse. I saw them in the Roundhouse, and he didn't play Poke. Someone asked for it, and he was like, "Nah, that ain't happening." Yeah, God, that would have been special. I missed seeing them live a couple of times, so I only saw them live twice. They're one of my favourite bands of all time. I got a Frightened Rabbit tattoo on my arm, which I got a couple of years ago. But yeah, oh man, that gold, that's really annoying. I wonder if I can resurrect this somehow, or if I just mash my brush into it a bunch of times. Like, I can just pick bits of this paint up, and it's just jelly-like.
Ugh.
It's weird. Do you listen to Manchester Orchestra ever?
I do.
Well,
yes.
now that is a band I enjoyed seeing live. They're great fun.
I've never seen them, but I do really like them. I've just got back into them actually because I was really big into them around the time of I can't remember the name of the album. It's got white cover and it has Simple Math on it.
Simple Math.
Yeah.
That is.
Is it? Oh, sorry.
Title.
It's just called Simple Math, right? That would be the one. Yeah, and I kind of then just for whatever reason didn't listen to them kind of regularly for a while and have just got back into them. But they're very, very good.
I've seen them live quite a few times now, and similarly, like Poke, there was a time when they played Death 1970 something off their first album. It's like a really sad song that's like about his father passing away, and the whole crowd shut up, but like sang along. So all you got were like the sibilant movements of mouths, like his breath barely escaping past lips, and he seemed genuinely touched, and it was one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had at a gig, I think.
Oh wow!
Oh man, I'm really annoyed. I think I saw that Veronica had to leave the stream, so I can't. She won't be seeing this at the moment, but these gold highlights were such a good idea. This is amazing. This is great, he said, tooting his own horn. In gratitude to someone else, admittedly. It's a grateful toot.
Hey, sometimes it's perfectly all right to be proud of what you've done.
I like that.
It's looking very good.
I will stop there, because otherwise that will be too much gold. But yeah, hopefully. Nah, that's not really visible. Come on, focus. Why is it so obsessed with not focusing on this thing?
I'll also say that I went and saw Colour Ray Jepsen a few months ago, and that was incredible fun. It was just, utter, just jubilant energy. It was just what I needed. Oh, that looks brilliant, Johnny. Sorry, I don't have you up on my screen, so I'm catching up with the stream as it comes.
Yeah, I'm pleased with it. I'm pleased to have this thing nearly finished. Oh, talking of things being nearly finished, it's 4:59, Matt.
Whoa, so where did the time go?
That really went quick. We should probably start saying goodbyes. Thank you for coming in and joining us again on the stream. And
sorry, thank you for having me.
Trash talking elves with me, because
anytime.
I just I'll be honest with you. I don't know how Wheels or Lolies feels about elves, but I kind of feel like if I said I hate them, then certainly Wheels would start defending them just for the sake of having an argument. So it's nice to be able to just trash talk a non-existent fancy race for a while. And thanks to everyone who is watching at home. We appreciate you very much. And yeah, we hope you have a lovely evening. I'm going to get ready to change this thing. Is there anything we should plug for the rest of the week, Matt? Let me embiggen myself.
Well, we just had the third episode of World Wide Wrestling go up.
We did, yeah.
Which is the finale to that little run there, which I think is extremely funny.
Yes.
I don't think we've had a session of, well, maybe anything where we've all giggled so much. Yeah. So that was enormous fun. Over on the website, we've got some features going up. We put up a little feature today about how to introduce people to board games. We've got regular news going up. Alex Meehan has a fantastic little delve into deck builders tomorrow. If you're looking to get into those for the first time. And then very soon, I believe we should have some more Dungeon Breaker, which will be the culmination to this particular season of Dungeon Breaker, which is very exciting. It really, let's say it really goes places.
It really, really, yes. I think that is an accurate description of the next 3 episodes of Dungeon Breaker. Yeah. That was a fun session, so I'm looking forward to everyone catching up with it.
Yeah, and of course we've got the podcast on Friday,
which is
in both video and audio forms. Yeah.
So yeah, all right. Well, I've got a game of diplomacy to catch up on, I think, and to be honest with you, I might sort of arm myself and go into the wilds and see if I can scavenge up some hash browns. But
just bartering on the street for hash browns.
Mate, what you got?
I'll give you this painted troll, please.
Do you want some gold jelly? It's not good for painting no more. Anyway, yeah, thank you again, everyone, so much for watching, and we will catch you very soon. Goodbye.
Thanks. Bye.